Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes' Illuminati, the man who rules the world, takes on the head of the global elite in this all-new action-packed John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' Illuminati in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Better get the coleslaw, y'all, cause we're having us a barbecue. Federal agents raided the homes of Sean P. Diddy Combs in Los Angeles and Miami.
And we begin tonight with the breaking news, the extraordinary scene late today. Federal agents moving in on homes in Los Angeles and Miami, homes belonging to music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. The images coming in tonight, federal authorities, including teams from Homeland Security, raiding the homes. Tonight, sources telling ABC News it is connected to a human trafficking investigation. The aerial images right here of Combs' home in the wealthy L.A. neighborhood of Holmby Hills. Heavily armed agents, armored vehicles there. 2 men have been detained at this property. Law enforcement sources telling us they are his sons. Combs has faced multiple lawsuits in recent months with allegations of sexual assault and sex trafficking, accusations he has denied. ABC's Kana Whitworth leading us off on the breaking news. She's in Los Angeles tonight.
Tonight, heavily armed federal authorities raiding homes belonging to legendary rapper and entertainment mogul Sean Diddy Combs. Agents from Homeland Security Investigations seen in fatigues and body armor entering his home in the wealthy L.A. enclave of Holmby Hills. Drones flying overhead, Combs' 2 sons reportedly detained at the scene, and more agents at his mansion in Miami. The Department of Homeland Security confirming to ABC News that they executed law enforcement actions as part of an ongoing investigation. Law enforcement sources telling ABC News that this case is being handled out of the Southern District of New York, and the investigation involves allegations of human trafficking. Combs had multiple lawsuits leveled against him in recent months with allegations of sexual assault and sex trafficking. Allegations he denies.
And David, a lawyer for 2 of the alleged victims, told us in a statement that they welcome today's law enforcement activity, adding that they hope this is the beginning of a process that will hold Mr. Combs responsible. David?
Kana Whitworth leading us off on the breaking news. Kana, thank you.
Now, yesterday, agents from the Department of Homeland Security raided homes belonging to rap mogul and producer Sean P. Diddy Combs in conjunction with an investigation of alleged sex trafficking. Now, this investigation is being done by the U.S. District Court of New York in the Southern District, which is investigating these allegations of sex trafficking in connection with several civil lawsuits that have been filed against Sean P. Diddy Combs ever since November of 2023, when his former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, filed a civil lawsuit in connection with the Adult Survivors Act, alleging that Sean P. Diddy Combs allegedly sexually abused her, sexually violated her, and had her participate in sex trafficking. Now, that civil lawsuit was one that Sean P. Diddy Combs quickly tried to settle with Cassie Ventura. However, several other civil lawsuits came about, and as these civil lawsuits came about, which were filed by Joy Dickerson Neal in connection with a 1991 alleged sexual assault, and an anonymous lawsuit filed by a woman in December as related to sex trafficking and an alleged gang sexual violation when she was 17 years old, and an allegation of an assault by even one of his male producers. These allegations of sexual assault and sexual violation, these were coming so many that the U.S. Department of Homeland Security began to do its own investigation. Now, I have to wonder what executive in the entertainment industry did Sean P. Diddy Combs upset for all of this to transpire, because usually when it comes to the entertainment industry, they usually like to keep the skeleton bones buried. And that's the case that has happened as related to the whole lawsuit with Cassie. It looked like an executive was looking to try to bury the skeleton bones to keep other bones from being dug up by many of these other corporate executives as related to their debauchery and deviancy. However, it looks like even though those efforts were made to try to settle the case with Cassie to keep the bones buried, it looks like more of these bones are being dug up as related to these allegations of sexual violence and possible sex trafficking. And as these allegations have been made, Sean P. Diddy Combs has made a statement saying that he is cooperating with the investigation. However, his plane was seen flying to another country, which was supposed to be Antigua in the West Indies. And with this whole situation, it's looking like possibly Sean P. Diddy Combs is looking quite suspect as related to these allegations. Now, these allegations are ones that are quite disturbing, and they're quite disturbing because if these allegations can be proven to be true, they basically put Sean P. Diddy Combs in the company of sexually deviant individuals such as Jeffrey Epstein, who basically had a private island where he had young girls there for entertainers and moguls and politicians to be able to participate in sexually deviancy with, and Harvey Weinstein, the producer, who oftentimes used his power and position to go out here and use it as a leverage to get women to perform sexual favors in exchange for roles on the casting couch. That's the company that Sean P. Diddy Combs is being put into as related to these allegations. And as I have read about these allegations, they basically show me an individual who basically had a real serious issue with sexual deviancy, and that sexual deviancy possibly was something he participated in as related to gaining power and control over people. Now, I talk in depth about this in my book, The Man Crisis, where I talk about the sexual deviancy of beta males, males who have real serious issues as related to sex and sexuality because they are not secure in their natural masculinity or their natural sexuality. And because these men have insecurities about their natural masculinity and their natural sexuality and don't feel comfortable about being a man, what these men do is enter a place I call the secret world, and in that secret world, they feel safe about expressing what they believe to be natural masculinity and natural sexuality. Unfortunately, when they enter that secret world, they create a rose-colored reality, and in that rose-colored reality, what they're looking to do is not get sexual pleasure. What they're looking to do is gain power that they feel like they don't have in the real world. And when I look at the claims that Cassie and many other individuals are claiming as related to Sean P. Diddy Combs' alleged sexual actions, they definitely fit the pattern and profile of a sexual deviant who is looking to use sex as a way to get power, to be the man they want to be in the real world. Now, with these beta males, what they do is they go into this secret world to be able to get that power, because even though they have this world of success, what they do is they want to keep their world smooth as related to that successful world, and because they feel powerless about the success that they have and controlling that success, what they do is go to the secret world where they feel they can have the actual power of a man that they actually want to have. Unfortunately, as they enter that world, they become very disconnected and detached from themselves, And any relationship they have with a person that they believe that they want to have in that secret world, what they do is they don't see that person as a person. No, they want to see that person as an object in their fantasy. And what they want to do in that fantasy is gain that power of a man by stripping that person of their humanity. And that was basically what Cassie Ventura made in her claim in her lawsuit, her having the longest relationship with P. Diddy Combs. And in that relationship, she alleged that P. Diddy Combs allegedly had her participate in deviant sexual acts. And again, these deviant sexual acts were not about pleasure. They were about the rush of power that P. Diddy Combs was allegedly going to get by seeing Cassie basically participate, starting in deviant sexual acts with him, and then escalating his behavior, looking to get a bigger high, because with these sexual deviants, again, it is not about the pleasure of an orgasm, it is about the pleasure of power, of seeing somebody broken down. And after participating in sexual acts that broke down Cassie physically, with him intimately himself, and escalating that behavior to the sexual violence that Cassie claims happened, P. Diddy allegedly possibly participated in escalating his behavior by looking to see Cassie participating in sex acts in front of him. This is how he got his pleasure, by saying he had the power to be able to take this woman's body and do whatever he wanted to it, and further possibly had her participating in sex acts not only with other people, but then trafficking her to other individuals as related to her allegations in her lawsuit. This was done, again, as a way for her to get the feeling of power and the rush of power that he wanted to have as related to being a man. And he basically weaponized all of these individuals in a way to humiliate and break down this woman through these acts of sexual violence, because these are not sexual acts of pleasure, these are acts of violence done to humiliate and break down a partner. And once he had gotten to that level, again, he wasn't really satisfying him, because with the sexual deviant, the more they humiliate a person, that it's just not enough for them. And once they get one person broken down, they want to break down other people. And that possibly was the whole pattern of behavior of abuse for P. Diddy Combs. And as Diddy went on and continued to get involved with other people, like the other women that he got involved with, that wasn't enough for him to possibly see these women humiliated and broken down. And then he wanted to go out here and get involved with men and as related to allegations. And as he looked to get involved with these men, what he wanted to do was get power over a man. And as he looked to get power over a man, this is where one of his employees, videographer Rodney Little Rod Jones, talked about an assault that happened to him as related to this assault, and him possibly leading this sex trafficking organization. This was all about power and control, because when it comes to beta males like this, what they want to do is they feel insecure about themselves as related to their natural masculinity and sexuality. And because they feel insecure about their masculinity and sexuality, they do not see sex as an expression of love. No, they see it as a rush of power that they have every time. And what they want to do is go out and look to get power over people by using sex as a way to hurt and humiliate them. So that's what is related to these allegations that led to Diddy possibly looking to participate in sex trafficking, because sex trafficking isn't just about trafficking women to be used and exploited. It's also about these deviant sexual males looking to get power by saying that they have the power over a woman or a man's body. And I say woman or man's body because these sex traffickers, it's all about them getting power and saying that they have the power to dictate control over somebody's body and the ability to take the most intimate part of a person's body and be able to violate it and use their own penises as weapons. That's what they want to do. And again, it's the ultimate goal for these types of individuals is all about breaking that person down, seeing that person wincing in pain, seeing that person suffer, seeing that person lose all control over their body, and them being the ones that have the power over it. And this is something that is really disturbing because, again, this is a group of people who participate in this type of behavior in the secret world, and they participate in this behavior in the secret world, and this has been one of those possible secrets that has been covered up by the entertainment industry. Now, the entertainment industry has always had a seedy underside, and in that seedy underside, there have been a whole lot of individuals who believe participating in sexual deviancy is something that they do for a release, and it's something they do for a release because these individuals have real serious insecurities about themselves and their position. Now, these people have tremendous power in the entertainment industry, but they have feelings of insecurity and inadequacy. And because they have feelings of insecurity and inadequacy and they feel powerless, what they look to do is get power over someone who they believe is weaker than they are. And that's what makes these individuals some of the most depraved individuals. And what's even more disturbing are that there are a lot of enablers who will go out and try to cover up all of the disgusting things that these individuals participate in the entertainment industry because they fear that these people have all sorts of power to destroy their lives. And what's even more twisted there are some people who are looking to willingly look the other way as they form a covert contract in the entertainment industry, and because they want to be a part of the entertainment industry and get the big money, what they will do is look the other way as a woman or a man is broken down in this fashion by this sick and depraved individual. Now, P. Diddy Combs is not the only person who's been as twisted and deviant as this. Again, Jeffrey Epstein was just as twisted, and so was Harvey Weinstein, and so was the late Phil Spector. All of these individuals had the same depraved mindset as related to sex and power, and they had this depraved mindset because many of these men, they again feel insecure about themselves, and in order for them to feel like they have any sort of real power as a man, what they want to do is feel like they see someone and see somebody less than they are, because in their world of suck-ups and bootlicks and people who pander to them, they don't really feel like there's any power because they feel practically numb at this point. And since these guys feel numb from all of the kissing up, they look to see somebody in real time be having emotional reaction. So this is why these individuals participate in this kind of deviancy. But this type of deviancy is something that we all have to push back on, because this type of deviancy is, if somebody participates in it, they basically have a depraved indifference to human life. And these type of individuals, because they're so detached from people, what they look to do is they go from looking to go out here and kidnap people and take away their freedom and agency. and look to make them a part of these trafficking rings, and then look to kidnap them, and then after they kidnap them, break them down. And after they kidnap them and break them down, in some cases, what they do in order to make sure that their world remains smooth is look to get rid of the evidence. And that's where these guys go and escalate their behavior to the most extreme act that the sexual deviants participate in, and that is sexual deviancy going into serial killing. And that's what makes these guys really dangerous. And it doesn't matter whether they're a serial killer like a Ted Bundy or a Sean P. Diddy Combs, who's alleged to have participated in sex trafficking. The mindset of these individuals is what makes them really dangerous, because they have, again, a complete depraved indifference to human life, because in their secret world, people aren't people that they need to respect or regard. People don't have feelings that they need to care about. People don't matter to them. And what's even more disturbing is that people were willing to give these guys a pass for their depraved behavior, all because they want to be able to say they were sitting with a celebrity, they were hanging out with a celebrity. That's what makes this whole situation extremely disturbing, because P. Diddy Combs possibly had to go on for over 30 years as related to these alleged reports. I mean, some are coming out and saying that he was doing stuff since 1991, and I have to wonder how many were complicit over the last 30 years to allow this man to continue escalating his deviant sexual behavior as alleged. And I have to say that those people, while they're out here, they have to be just as complicit, because you could have said something then, and maybe you could have saved some lives, and maybe you could have saved some lives and saved some girls or some men from losing their dignity, because these traffickers, again, they don't look to go out here and have not normal sexual relations. No, they look to participate in escalating violence because they get power from seeing people in pain. And I wonder how many people look the other way as related to these allegations of sex trafficking. How many people look the other way in the entertainment industry because there's blood on their hands, and there's blood on their hands because they basically gave this man a pass because they value money more than people. That's the most disturbing thing about this whole case of allegations against P. Diddy Combs. I mean, this mogul basically was participating as related to alleged sexual deviancy, and people just gave it a pass. And while people will sit there and talk about R. Kelly, they basically did the same depraved thing by giving their children to that Molech. And that was, again, shows me how people value money more than people. And that is the whole thing that is really the saddest part about these allegations against P. Diddy Combs, that when it comes to these entertainers, people are willing to compromise their moral position. They're willing to compromise their morals, like I talk about in my novel, The Temptation of John Haynes. I mean, in The Temptation of John Haynes, I talk about what people will do as related to getting power. And on the back of that book, I say death kills the flesh and compromise kills the soul. And there have to be a lot of dead souls around P. Diddy Combs to go out here and let him get away with all of this for over 30 years. And those people making those compromises are, I'd say, far or more evil or just as evil as Diddy, to allow him to get away with all of this for so long, because it was more, they value more money more than their souls. They value money more than their dignity. They value money more than their self-respect, because in any society of people who had a moral position, this man, as related to these allegations, would have been dealt with 30 years ago. But 30 years later, we have people coming out, and now the Department of Homeland Security is doing an investigation as related to sex trafficking. And this investigation may possibly show us that Diddy wasn't just a music producer, but he was also the Harvey Weinstein of hip hop. And as people wanted to be a part of his label, they had to go out here and compromise their dignity, their self respect, and self worth for fame. And this whole case basically shows me that the price of fame is just too high. And I thank God that I did not get involved with the entertainment industry like I did when I wanted to do when I was younger, because hearing about all of the horror stories that are coming out of the entertainment industry, they are just disturbing. And the people in charge of it just show me that they are not about looking to entertain people and create really great stories. No, it becomes all about them wanting to get power through entering the secret world of sexual pleasure and sexual deviancy, and they're willing to bury that information in order to continue going on, because a lot of entertainers, what they want to do and a lot of moguls want to do is get leverage over an individual and use that leverage to control them. And it looks like to me possibly all of this is coming out because either Diddy wound up not looking to do business the way that somebody higher up than him didn't want, and they let all of this come out. And it looks like to me they have no more use for Diddy at this point, so they're basically airing out all of Diddy's dirty laundry. And as they have everybody looking at the skid marks in the back of his jockey drawers, they basically have everybody seeing all the shit that he did, but they're not looking at the bigger picture of how there are more people out here who are participating in more of this debaucherous and deviant behavior that have more power than Diddy. And they use their white media outlets to basically expose him, and they exposed him because he basically crossed somebody the wrong way. And after crossing them, they are looking to basically sacrifice him. And as they sacrifice him, you have some people saying that this was done to take wealth out of a black man's hands, and I'll possibly agree with that to a point. This was possibly done because you had a black man who was wealthy and a black man who basically, thought he had real power, but he didn't understand that there were people higher than him in the entertainment industry, and it looks like he burned one of those people. And now that he's burnt one of those people, what they're looking to do is show them how fast he can be replaced. Because, again, in this media arm of white supremacy, bootleg is a job without a retirement plan. And Diddy was basically a bootleg who promoted all sorts of hip-hop music that sent many a young black male to prison or made a young black male drop out of school. And sadly, as he got his success at the expense of black people and not being able to go to school and being able to go and sent many men to prison with this gangster rap acts, he is sadly in his middle age reaping what he sowed, greater than what he sowed, later than what he sowed. And sadly, what's happening to him is that now that white supremacy no longer needs him to be their entertainment mogul for these new generations, in order to keep him from being a weapon and be going out here and running political campaigns like Vote or Die, they're making sure that he winds up being crucified on their media platforms. And as he's crucified on their media platforms, he cannot be weaponized as somebody who can go out here and promote on new black media platforms. So the legacy media is basically getting rid of a bootleg at this point. And I have to ask the critical question, who did Sean P. Diddy Combs piss off to wind up in this situation? Because there are lots of entertainers who have skeleton bones, and again, some of those skeleton bones go with them to the grave, and the only way that the skeleton bones come out like this is oftentimes if you piss somebody off. So again, I have to ask the critical question, who did Sean P. Diddy Combs piss off in the entertainment industry? Now, if you want to pick up some of my positive black fiction on the SJS Direct imprint, you can find those books in the ISIS series, the Steam series, the John Haynes series, and the books of the Spencerella trilogy on Amazon.com. And if you want to read a book that was go in depth on the dysfunction of a guy like Sean P. Diddy Combs, you can pick up my nonfiction book, The Man Crisis, which goes into detail about the dysfunction of beta males and what motivates them to enter the secret world and wind up in a world of perversion and debauchery. And if you want to see me be able to make more videos about entertainers, you can send a donation to the PayPal or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Coming to paperback and e-readers, Isis Dark Incubus. The goddess next door gets enthralled in a romantic entanglement with an evil incubus in this all-new Isis series adventure. Pre-order your copy of Isis Dark Incubus at Amazon.com and other online booksellers everywhere. Coming to paperback and e-readers, Esteem Horror in the Hamptons. The aspiring angel tries to escape a house of horrors in this all-new Esteem series adventure. Pre-order your copy of Esteem Horror in the Hamptons in digital format at Amazon.com, Google Play, Draft2Digital, and other digital booksellers, or pick up your paperback copy on May 24th. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.